class. I just wanted to try to quickly describe how to use the VoiceThread website to do your discussions for the Article 2 discussion, the case studies, and then finally for your final presentation for your final topics, where you'll make a PowerPoint or a Google slide, but then you'll load it into VoiceThread and you'll record kind of your video presentation on top of your slides. Right? So the first thing to note is that when you log in, you should have your own account, and make sure you use the link I sent you in my email so that it's linked to my account, because that way then you want to make sure you're part of this group, so which is using a second link. So if you log in and you don't see any of these files here, it probably means you're not part of the group yet, even though you created an account. You need to make sure you're part of the group by using that second link in the email, and then these files should appear. If you can't see the files still and we're not sure how to be part of this group, let me know and I'll try to add you manually. Okay. So you'll see these different files. These are I'm referring to them individually as VoiceThread files. And right now, essentially, each file is just one image, either the copy from the case study textbook or from the cropped out figures from the article. Okay. So you'll see there's one file per group: Figure 1, Figure 2, Figure 3, Figure 4, and then 5 and 6 for this group, since both figures were assigned for that group. Okay. So let's say you want to load a comment, and let's say imagine I was assigned to the group that was doing Figure 4. So go ahead and click it, hit the play button. Okay. And it'll load the image that is there. Okay, that I already created as the instructor. Okay. So let's say I was part of a group of 4 people, and we divvied it up so that one person was going to do A and B, second was going to do C and D. Let's say I was assigned E and F, and someone else, the 4th person, was assigned G and H. Right. So if a comment has been made, if a video comment has been made, it'll show up on the left here in the menu bar. But you can see there's no comments here, so I'm the first person to make a comment, right? But obviously, I'm the 3rd person in line since I'm doing E and F. So the question is, well, do I have to wait until the first 2 people make their comment and then add mine on to make sure it's chronological? The answer is no. That's the whole point of using this website, is that we can do the things asynchronously. We can each person can record their section completely on their own time, and the comments get made. And once they're made, we can then reorder the comments so it does become chronological, right? 2 things to note before you start recording is that you can also manipulate the image a little bit. So let's say this is kind of far away, so I can kind of zoom in a little bit on this using the plus button on the bottom right of the window. It looks pretty good, but let's say I was assigned A and B, those get cut off. To reposition it, I just basically click and drag, and I can move the image so it's a little bit more in frame. Okay. So you can zoom in before you want to do this before you start recording, because as far as I can tell, you can't reposition the image during recording. You can still zoom in during recording, but if your image kind of gets cut off, if part of the image gets cut off, you can't reposition it while recording. So you want to make sure you have the image that you want before you start the recording. Okay. So I can zoom out again, I can zoom in again, and let's say I want it, that looks pretty good, so I'll keep it there. Okay. So then I want to make my actual comments. So I go down here to this plus button right in the middle of the screen, the very bottom. Okay. I make my comment, and I hit plus. You can see there's a couple different options for different types of comments. You can do just text. I guess you can phone in somehow. We can do just audio, but we want the video, so the video and audio together. So click on that. It'll ask me if I give permission for the camera and the microphone, so I say yes. Okay. So you can see then the video shows up, and before there can be a countdown, I clicked previously to nix the countdown, but let me see if I can do that again. Let's see if I can cancel that and make a new comment on that. Allow it. Stop recording. I'll try one more time. Allow it. Okay, there we go. So the default setting is for this countdown. You can skip it if you want to, but it's only 4 or 5 seconds, so it's not that big of a deal, I found. So you can see this is recording here, and then so I can start talking about the figure. So I can say, okay, panel E, or we have IL5, and what you want to do is also use this little pencil tool on the very bottom here, so that you can highlight it. So you can pick whatever colors you like. Let's stick with the purple, and I can say panel E. We're looking at IL5 cytokine, and it's in picograms per milliliter. We have the 4 samples being measured. We have significant difference here. And then you want to describe the different samples, right? So if I was actually doing the commentary, I'd go into much more detail about the different samples and the different cytokines, the purpose behind that. And then I would say, okay, the next panel is IL-13, and the different samples. Then we see the differences here, the measurements. Okay. So it's nice to use the pencil feature versus just talking. It does help to direct a person to what you're talking about. So it's good to use that. The thing to note is that you'll see that it fades away. So after a couple of seconds, whatever doodle I made or little drawings I made will go away. So there's no erase command or erase tool. It just goes away. So that's a nice thing about that. Okay. Let's say then I'm done with my recording. I just hit stop. Okay. And then it'll start to process what you just made. And once it's finished processing it, it'll automatically play it. So you have this play button here. And this is the timeline for that, so it should be playing it now. Right. So I'll zoom out. Okay, so that's just the comment I made, and I'll show you how long it is. So that particular comment was just over a minute. And let's say if I didn't like it, I could cancel and remake it, but I liked it, so let's hit save. Okay, and now you can see in the menu bar on the left, there's this comment that is being processed. And it's the initials of the person who made the comment. So since it was me, it's SA as the initials. Okay. And the longer the comment, obviously it's going to take a little bit longer for it to process. Hopefully this won't take too long, just so you can see what it looks like. Right. So now anytime that someone goes in to this file, this comment now is part of this file. Okay. So let's keep it going. It's almost done. And I want to, there we go. So now if I click on it now, it should, if I hit the play button, that should be the comment that plays, right? Okay, and again, this is the full. I can zoom in into any part of that recording. You can see the little traces I made on the file, so you can move around that comment, right? So now so if I were to exit out of this, you can and go into figure, click it again. So this comment now is part of that file. So it's now saved as part of that file. Okay. So now let's say I was the first group member, or the group member that was assigned to panels A and B, and I see that, oh, the person did E and F, already put their comment in. Well, now how do I make my comment appear first, right? So simply, I just make my comment again. So I'll just go ahead and redo a video, do the countdown. Excuse me. All right. So it's recording something, blah, blah, blah. I want to zoom in. And as I mentioned before, you want to reposition it. You can't reposition it once it's recording. But let's say I did all my commentary. I talked about what I wanted to talk about. Okay. Then I stop recording. Give it a moment or two to process what you just recorded. Okay. You can look back and see what you just made. And if you like it, click save. Okay. And now you can see the second comment is now being saved as part of the file. Since it was the second comment made, it's going to automatically default to being second on the list here, right? But you can see that so it's showing up here in the timeline. Both comments are now merge into one timeline. So the first comment shows up first here, and the second comment shows up second here, right? But I can then move this. I can make now this comment just simply by dragging it and repositioning it. Now that first comment is now that second comment that was recorded now becomes the first comment, right? And so now this becomes one continuous video with both of the comments being part of it, but now they're in the right order. right? So it's a very simple process. Anyone can come and record it at any time, and then once the comment is made, you can just reorder it however you like. Okay, so that's the cool thing about VoiceThread. All right. The last thing I'll mention is how to then move between different images. So if we go to figure 5, for example, there are 2 images there. There's 5 and 6 that are present. So someone else made a comment on this figure already, so we'll just ignore that for the moment. But you can see then the other thing, whoops, let me bring it back in here. So right now this is just showing one figure, and it says slide 1 of 2, right? So the second figure this is figure 5. So how do I get to figure 6? So on the bottom right here is the arrows that will move between the different slides. All right, so if I click on that, now it goes to, says slide 2 of 2, so now this is figure 6. And so if I was talking about figure 6, I just simply use the arrow button to move to that. And so again, while I can move between slides while I'm recording. So if I'm recording something, I'm just going to do the audio just to make it easy right now. Still do the countdown. All right, and so let's say it starts off with figure 1, and let's say I was talking about I was assigned panel D, but then I was also assigned the first panel on figure 5. I simply click the arrow button, and I can go in, and I can zoom in if I can. And unfortunately, again, I still can't reposition it properly. But at least I can still move between slides while I'm making my recording, right? And I can stop that. And just like before, whatever I just did will be the video. Okay, and so it'll show you that timeline, and so somewhere down the line to the doodle, and then you can see me jumping ahead to the next slide, right? So I can go, let's say I save that there, okay, and now you can see that it's now that new comment is saved after this other student had made their comment, okay, and then let's say I was the first that I should have gone first. I simply can just move that up there, and now my comment is first, and the second person that, even though I recorded before me, now their comment appears second. Okay, so that basically is all that I think I wanted to mention. So when you do your final presentations, you're going to load each slide as an individual slide. You can do it as a PowerPoint. It'll automatically take your slides and load them as different slides, or as a PDF. I think that'll be easiest if you make it as a PDF, and each page will be an individual slide. Very final topic. Okay. All right. So hopefully that gives you a pretty good overview. Again, if you have any questions about or any problems, just let me know. All right. And I just mentioned one last thing, just as easily. I don't want this to be a real comment, so I can just quickly hit the delete button, and then it's gone, and it's no longer part of that file. All right. So I'll leave it there. Good luck.